Hey, more volume today. As a reminder, the formula for finding volume is you find the area of the base, then you multiply it by the height of the prism. So just looking at an overview of this page, some things that are really important to consider is that for a rectangular prism, you get to choose whatever side you want to be the base. For any other shape that's not a rectangular prism, you have to choose the two sides that are across from each other and the same. So let's just look at some examples of that. If I look at these first two rows, for letter A, I guess they're both called letter A, but for this first rectangular prism, I could choose any one of these sides to be the base. Maybe I want to choose the bottom, and that's fine. So if I'm choosing the bottom to be the base, I'm going to be finding the area of that bottom, and then I'm going to find how tall the prism is between the other side that's across from it. So if I'm choosing the bottom, that's very ugly. Let's try that again. If I'm choosing the bottom, that means there's another side across from it that's exactly the same. So I'm going to find the area of the bottom, then I'm going to multiply it by how tall the prism is between those two sides. And they tell me that that's 5.8, so I can come back to that. In a shape like T, I don't have a choice. I can't just necessarily choose the top and the bottom. I have to see, are those the two sides that are across from each other and equal to each other? And it does happen to work out for T as well. So for T, I have to choose the top and the bottom because those are the two triangles. So I'd find the area of the top or the bottom. Doesn't matter which one, whatever gives me more information because they have the same area. And then I multiply it by how far apart the top and the bottom are from each other. Now you'll notice if you look at all these shapes, sometimes the triangles are not on the top and the bottom. Sometimes they're on the left and the right or the front and the back. Can you find an example on this page where the triangles are not on the top and the bottom? I see one down here, so that's one you'll want to be careful about. So let's try some examples. Now remember, you are allowed to use a calculator as long as you're showing all the work. The calculator is basically to get rid of scratch work. So for this very first one, we know the volume equals the area of the base times the height of the prism. What two numbers would you use for the area of the base? Think about that. It would be 6 and 4.5. If I do 6 times 4.5, I'm going to get the area of one of those two blue rectangles. And they're both the same. The top and the bottom are the same area. Now the height of the prism is how far apart those two rectangles are from each other. And that's 5.8. Go ahead and type that into your calculator and see what you get. You can pause the video if you need more time. When I typed that into my calculator, I got 156.6. Go ahead and put units on that. Centimeters cubed. That would be the final, complete, and correct answer. Okay, let's go down the page. I'd like you to try this next one right here by yourself. Pause the video, come back when you're ready to check. Okay, so I chose to use this side as my base, but you might have chosen a different side, and that is okay because we should get the same answer as long as we both do it correctly. So if that side is my base, that means I need to find the area of one of these blue rectangles, and then I need to multiply it by how far apart they are. So volume equals the area of the base times the height. The area of the base, the way I have it colored in, is 25 times 20. If you use the top and the bottom, you would have used 20 and 30 instead. My last remaining number, the height of the prism, for me is 30 because my two bases are 30 inches apart. If you use the top and the bottom, your last number would have been 25. Then you would have typed everything into your calculator, and I got 15,000 inches cubed. Volume always has cubed. It's the only one that has cubed. Okay, so this next one looks a little intimidating at first because I see like a really wacky shape there. The first thing we need to do is identify our bases. Our only choice is the wacky shape because those are the only two sides that have a matching pair that is exactly the same that's across from it. So that has to be the base. So this is a pentagonal prism. And you might be saying to yourself, I don't know how to find the area of a pentagon. And guess what? I don't either. I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. So let's write down the formula. The volume equals the area of the base times the height. Look at what information they've given us. What's different here? They have already found the area of the base. They did the work for us. We don't have to find the area of the pentagon. They're telling us what it is. It's 52. So when I go to plug this in, I already know the area of the base is 52. I don't have to think about what two numbers to use. They already did all the calculations. It's 52. And then how far apart are the two bases? 7.5. Go ahead, put that into your calculator and find the answer. Make sure you put units. Pause the video if you need more time. This one is 390 meters cubed. And that makes sense. The area of the base would be meters squared because that's area, but volume is meters cubed. So these that have like the wacky base, where they tell us what the area of the base is, it's actually a little bit easier. One less number to worry about. Okay, let's look at T next. So we have our formula. Volume equals the area of the base times the height. The area of the base, when it's a triangle, is a little bit more complicated to find. Some people like to do the work off to the side, and that's fine too if you'd like to. So maybe I'll find the area of the base down here. It's 1/2 times base times height. Can you take a look at that triangle and try to find out the answer to that problem? Pause the video. Okay, so I'd look for my right angle on the triangle. The right angle's here. And it looks like 4 and 10 are the two numbers I need to use. So 1/2 times 4 times 10. It doesn't matter if 4 or 10 goes first. Then you could either type that into your calculator. You could use a mental math strategy. 1/2 times 4 is 2. Times 10 is 20. So the area of the triangle is 20. And I can put that into my formula, kind of like what we did with the pentagonal prism, where you just put the single answer into the formula. It just makes it less cluttered. You don't have to do it this way, but it might be easier. And then the height of the prism. How far apart are those two triangles? That would be 8. Okay, go ahead, pause the video, find an answer, put units. Okay, hopefully you're ready. I got 160 meters cubed. So you don't have to do that triangle work off to the side. I did it just to kind of make my volume work look less cluttered, but it's up to you. All right, I would like you to pause the video and try P all by yourself, please. Come back when you're ready to go over it. Okay, so my two bases have to be the triangles. So it happens to be the top and the bottom again. So volume equals area of the base times the height. If you want to find the area of the base right in this step, you're allowed to. You'd have to use the formula 1/2 times base times height, then multiply it by the, the height of the prism. So looking at my triangle, where's my right angle? Right here. So I'm going to be using 20 and 30. If you did the work off to the side, that is great. I'm going to show it this way just to show the other option. So 1/2 times 20 times 30. And then I have to multiply it by how far apart those two bases are. And that's 25. So times 25. All right, starting with my 1/2 times base times height. 1/2 of 20 is 10. Times 30 is 300. Times 25 is 7,500. And then your unit should be inches cubed. Okay. Pause the video and give Ella a try, please. All right, hopefully you've paused the video and you're ready. So for L, we have to use this hexagon as the base because those are the two sides that are across from another side that is exactly equal to it. So volume equals the area of the base times the height. And what's nice is they tell us the area of the base. Less work for us. 19.7 times 4.3. 4.3 is how tall it is between the two bases. You can type that into your calculator and get 84.71 centimeters cubed. All right, so I'm going to leave this last row for you to do. N and A are very similar to T and P, so you could use the same kind of work for that. H is also the same, it's just on its side. So every step you do will be the same. You just have to be careful to find the triangles for the bases. It's just on its side instead. Everything else is exactly the same. So you can use these examples to guide you, and your work should look similar to mine as well. Thank you guys for watching.